Come take a journey through time to a place where the time now is yesterday, today, 1,000 years ago. To a place where the life stream of the people has been cascading down through the centuries, serene, unchanging, as anonymous as the mountain streams themselves which interlace the backdrop to their culture. The valleys of the Kalash people in northernmost Pakistan. There are now only legends as to whence they came. The complexion is fair, the color of eyes brown or green. They may be the descendants of stragglers from the invading armies of Alexander. There must have been other influences too, of the Indo-Aryans, Dardics, White Huns, and Sakas. The Kalash people have their home in 3 valleys lying between the Karakorums and the Hindu Kush at a height of about 6,000 feet. Their sheltered lifestyle has endured the ebb and flow of stronger cultures away in the plains below them. They number no more than 3,000 to 5,000, living in 3 adjacent valleys, Barir, Bamburet, and Rambur. The Kalash live with nature. They are a manifestation of nature, like their walnut trees or the ice-cold water in their streams. They trade but little with the world outside. They spin their own yarn and weave their own cloth. They build their own homes and live with their own beliefs and their own religion, which is pre-Islamic. Their lifestyle is practical and unabashedly, unself-consciously colorful. It is to be seen in the construction of their homes, built into the mountainside with tiers of wooden planks supporting walls of stone, which are in abundance in their valleys. It is there in the engravings with which they adorn their doors and their beams. It is in the way they are always compulsively a reflection of nature. The approach to the Kalash Valley is from Pakistan's northwestern city of Peshawar. By road it is spectacular, taking you over the Loari top, where you journey some 11,000 feet above sea level. On either side, the peaks rise to 16,000 and more. By road, from Peshawar to the first of the Kalash valleys takes 17 hours. By air, the distance is 40 minutes to the mountain city of Chitral. And from there, another 22 miles, 3 hours by jeep to Barir. It is in Chitral that the high drama begins with the spectacle of the snow-covered peak of Trich Mir, 25,550 feet high. The name Chitral itself is evocative for those who know Pakistan. The bazaar or marketplace is the haunt of those who go in quest of handicrafts as rugged as the surrounding mountains. Or else it is the halting place of those who seek this eastern gateway to the Kalash Valley. The road will now take us along the Chitral River, which has risen amidst the glaciers of Trich Mir to the north. In these lower regions of this river valley, we will pass under towering walls of rock and clay. We will travel west for some 3 hours. Here we will work our mental transition. Here we will begin to leave behind the world as we know it. Presently, we approach and enter the mists of time. Fortunately for us, the jeep will only take us to one of the 3 valleys. The other 2, Bamburet and Rambur, we have the privilege of approaching on foot. Where necessary, the local people have thoughtfully provided what we will call a bridge. Pleasures of discovery lie always in the way you approach it. The Kalash are a pastoral people and in some degree agricultural also. They use their cattle to plow their terraced fields and, with a plenitude of water, have devised ingenious means of irrigation. Their main crop, from which their staple diet is derived, is maize. The menfolk have contributed to the economy by plowing the field. Now the women take over ubiquitously, sifting the corn, gathering in the waste fodder for their cattle, yet again, naturally, compulsively, turning communal work into the occasion for social intercourse and gaiety. Everywhere in the Kalash valleys you will see women thus at work, and everywhere and always you will see their persons thus adorned. Their headdress, made from cockle shells and buttons and tinkling bells and beads, may weigh from 3 to 5 pounds. The burden is joyfully carried and with panache. The water mill belongs to the community, and it is the women folk that do the grinding. The water runs all the year round, and so does the water mill. Yet, another of the delightful and indeed Epicurean customs of the Kalash women is to grind the corn fresh for every meal. The diet of the Kalash people is mostly corn flour. It is mixed with water and baked on a rough iron plate. It is eaten mostly with cheese, made from cows' and goats' milk. They will eat meat only on festive or religious occasions, and their meat will mostly be goat and sometimes cow. Never chicken and eggs, which to the Kalash people are strictly taboo. The women cook, but only the men may serve, to both family and friends. No oil or fat of any kind is used in their cooking. Even their meat is boiled only in water, with salt and sometimes spices added. Once a month, for the few days necessary, every woman will seclude herself in the communal bashali. Here again, nature dictates the human response, which is hygienic and scientific. Here, the women will stay not only secluded, but completely cut off from human contact. Relatives will bring their food, but may not touch them. The one will place the food on the ground, the other will carry it away. The bashali is also the maternity clinic, which the expectant mother enters 7 days ahead, and where she will nurse the baby for 40 days before returning to the village. The practice seems as natural as breathing in and breathing out. The sheep is the Kalash's most important companion through life, providing the wool for their clothes as well as milk for their cheese. Spinning and weaving are a highly developed handicraft, and one at which, again, it is the women folk that are adept. From the wool, they weave shawls and blankets, and the long dresses, which the women folk wear in winter, always dyed black, and the men wear in grays, browns, greens, and blues. Footwear is goatskin wrapped around the ankle and foot and held in place with leather thongs. The Kalash grow no cotton, and this is one of the few articles they acquire in trade down in the city of Chitral. From this they weave their own dresses for the summer months and their belts and other articles of adornment. The women never cut their hair. Detached strands of hair are considered unclean. So the women keep their own combs in separate little holes in the rock by the side of the streams, never at home. Every 3 days or so, another social ceremony. Again, hygiene dictates. This, of course, is a part of the river out of bounds for men. These young women in their teens and early 20s are all married and have been for some years. The Kalash marry young, girls at perhaps 14, boys at 16 or 18. But the betrothal will have been arranged already at the age of 4 or 6.
Give the car to the Opo.
We take the horn of the goat and heat it in the fire, says the young woman. Thus softened, it rubs off on a flat slab of stone in the form of a paste, dark brown in color. We use it on the face to protect ourselves from sunburn. We spread it on the forehead to cure fever and colds. In the winter, you will see us women and children, and sometimes also our men, with their faces covered with this paste. Thus, frequently using it, we also naturally learn to apply the paste decoratively. The Kalash are a pre-Islamic people, a form of animists who believe in an omnipresent God. Their temple, or Jastakan, is the abode of the female deity, Jastak, protector of children and patron saint of women in labor. She is represented by a carved panel of wood, and its spiritual worth must be said to be symbolic rather than intrinsic, for an old and withered panel can be cast aside and replaced by a fresh piece of furniture. From birth to death, Kalash customs belong peculiarly to themselves. This is their graveyard, Mandau Jau, place of many coffins. In earlier times, they buried their dead in wooden coffins left above the ground with all their clothes and ornaments on them. No one may enter this grove unless to bring in a coffin or erect an effigy. Effigies are carved in wood, a symbolic reincarnation of the departed soul. They may be erected only for men, and not all men at that. Outstanding feats of valor or wealth within the community in terms of cattle and sheep are the criteria for eligibility. And then, the effigy erected, a feast must follow. Death is not an occasion for sorrow, for it brings a release from the travails of life. In more recent times, we are told, with the impact of Islam, the custom has changed. Now the coffin is buried underneath the ground, affording protection against scavengers and making for better hygiene. Now only in the more remote parts of the valleys does the old custom still live on. Islam indeed has entered the lives of the people of these valleys with characteristic peacefulness. This family is typical. Two brothers under the same roof, the one a pre-Islamic Kalash in religion and culture, the other a Muslim. There is no conflict and no prejudice on either side. And the influence of the advent of Islam in the home is by example and not by pressure. The change of religion begins to affect the lifestyle. Not only clothes change, values change, diet changes, ancient superstitions begin to be discarded. But the Kalash temperament, one of peaceful cohabitation, stays on. The milestones of life are never allowed to pass unsung in Kalash. The occasion may be one of their 2 or 3 religious festivals, or equally a birth or a marriage or death. The venue on these occasions is the Saji Gaur, an open-air temple of sorts, and open only to the menfolk. The occasion is celebrated as a feast, and these are the only moments when the Kalash eat meat. Sajigor is the deity who looks after the world under the command of the Supreme Creator. The ceremony consists of all the menfolk gathering around an open fire. Burning branches of juniper are thrown onto the fire. A goat is sacrificed, and its blood is sprinkled on the flames and on the altar. Social and religious customs become intertwined. The head of the goat is flung aside, and the boy that is quickest, and no doubt strongest, claims it and may then have it for himself to eat. The horns are then hung up from the branch of a holy oak tree within the Saji Gaur as a sign that the sacrifice has been made. Other than the horns and the hide, the Kalash eat up every part of the animal. Around mid-December come the first snows to the lower slopes of the valleys. It is Chaumas, year's end. It has been another good year. The families have flourished, the crops have been good, the harvest generous. It is time for thanksgiving and celebration. The Kalash, after all, being happy, are a grateful people. One year has ended, the next must now begin. We bring our children to the Jastakhan, to the goddess Jastak, so that they may be blessed by her in the year that lies ahead. The sacrifices, the singing and dancing, the drinking of the wine they have made from their own grapes, go on for almost a week. quest for the carefree life, the Kalash indeed are a tireless people. And we of the outside world, we do not envy the Kalash people their lack of education, of hospitals, of the amenities of civilized life. We hope that they will have these soon. But we also hope that in acquiring these, they will not lose their innocence and their oneness with nature. For these attributes, it is we of the civilized world who envy them, the people of Kalash.